All right, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Just going to get the camera set up here and we're going to kick this off in just a minute or two. Appreciate you all waiting with me there. Cool. So we've got the recording on, guys. So if you do need to dip out during this, you will get the replay sent over to you probably tomorrow morning by the time we get it edited and wrapped up. And so just before we get kicked off, guys, if you could let me know if you're new to social media marketing, it would just really help me get a grasp on who's new to this, who's maybe been in the industry for some time already. And yeah, let's just go from there. Because again, that's going to help me prepare the information in here so that it's most valuable to you. So if you could just type a 1 in the chat if you're completely new. If you've been in the industry a while, you can just put a 2 in the chat. But again, my goal here is to kind of figure out who's new so that I can make sure to make sure that you understand exactly what this is and how it works. Okay, so Zoom user 1, Kirsten, you said 1, Dell 1, Neo 1, Josh 1, Pratik, fantastic. Okay, so mainly people that are new. For those of you else that are sitting in on the training, let me know if you can drop in a 1, let me know where you're at. Cool, Carlos 1 as well. Alrighty, great stuff, great stuff. So guys, to give you kind of an idea as to what to expect for this training, there's a few things we're going to cover. So number one, I'm going to go through a full training. My goal with that is to break down, as you can see on screen here, how to make minimum 5K plus a month with social media marketing, specifically using some AI to help you along the way. Of course, if you've followed me for some time, you'll know that there's people I work with that make a lot more than that. Okay, so we're just going to start off small, build you up to that point. And of course, from there, if you are looking to build a 10K, 20K a month business as well, that is possible. Okay, so that's the first thing that we're going to cover. The second thing is we have a Black Friday offer that I'm going to announce on this live training. We've not announced it anywhere else. So you guys are going to be the first to know. We're actually not going to announce it publicly probably until tomorrow. So if you're not on this live, you're actually not going to see that. And then third, the final thing we're going to go through is a Q&A. Okay, so if you have any questions at all about what this is, social media marketing, how it works, is it the right thing for you? Any questions, any doubts, anything you need to get clarity on, let me know. Okay, so I'm going to do all of that for you. Just before we jump right in, just let me know, guys, if you can hear me okay. The lighting isn't fantastic with the camera. I'm in an Airbnb, so just bear with me on that one. But if you can hear me, if you could just type a yes into the chat just to make sure the audio quality is nice and clear. Okay, awesome. Looks like the audio is working fine. Great stuff. Well, let's jump in. And guys, I'm going to try and make this as valuable as possible. I'm not going to bore you for 2 hours here. I'm going to make this concise, hopefully easy to understand. And again, I welcome any questions. Okay, so if there's something that you haven't learned on this training, do let me know. You can put it in the chat. You can put it in the chat throughout the training, and I'll check in at the very end once we're going through the Q&A for that. Okay, so let's jump right in. So guys, for what I'm going to show you, right, doing AI social media marketing, you can do this if you don't have a large social media presence. In fact, you don't need any social media presence whatsoever. You really only need a couple hours a day to get really good results with this. Now, that being said, if you have more, great. Okay, if you have 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours a day, fantastic. The more you put in, the more results you're most likely going to get. But a lot of the success stories you've seen me post online are from people that have started with 1 or 2 hours a day. So that's why that claim is there. It's because I know those people have gotten great results with that time. Okay. What we do, social media marketing, I've done this for a very long time. Okay, I first got into this industry officially as a social media marketer back in 2019. And for about probably 5 years before that, when I was in school and also in college, I was doing other forms of marketing, dropshipping, e-commerce, selling products online, all through social media marketing. And so I've done this for a very long time, and I've seen this kind of ebb and flow, times where it's a little bit easier, times where it might be a little bit harder. What I know for a fact, for certain, from my experience, is that this works even in a recession, during times like COVID and the kind of current state of the economy that we're in right now. I know for a fact it works incredibly well. Okay, and I think this is important because if you're going to start any type of online business or a side hustle, something you're going to put time and energy and effort into, but you obviously want to make sure that it is something that will last, and it's not just going to be here for 2 months and then get saturated and you got to move on to something else. It only takes really a small amount of money. Some of you, who are on the training as well might already work with me, and hence, I've got a program where you can work one-on-one with me. Yes, of course, that costs money. I can't coach you for free. But if you didn't want to get my help and do it all by yourself, you could, in theory, do this with no money. What I mean by that is you don't need a lot of startup capital. A lot of online businesses require you to have a lot of money to start them. This is one of those things you can start with sweat equity, okay? That's the time and effort that you put in yourself. Now, for some of you, I know a lot of you are new, okay? So you might be just trying to understand what social media marketing is. But for a lot of people, when they come across social media marketing, they come across people online that say it's saturated, okay? So I want to clear this up for you. I've obviously, again, as I said, I've been in this industry a long time myself, so I know firsthand the answer to this question, is it saturated, is no. That's just a fact based on what I've seen myself. But what I've done here is I've taken some messages from people that I work one-on-one with, okay? So for example, Aoife, Mirta, Ethan, you can see the kind of timestamps and the dates of these messages. These are all in November, right? I'm hosting this training today, Wednesday, the 19th of November. That's a win from Ethan on the 14th. If we go to the next slide, you'll see more from the 17th, the 16th of November, some even just yesterday, right? So it's very clear that this still works. Not only for people that have been doing this a long time, some of these people have done this for a long time, but also for people that are brand new, okay? I've had people in the month of November join my program and get clients. I've had people in October join my program and get clients in October and November. So I do know it is not saturated and it can work today. Now, again, a lot of you have seen some of these people, okay? So I'm not going to bore you with too many results. That's not the goal of this training. But just so you know that this does work, I need to make this very clear, okay? Over 140 of the people I've worked with inside of my program have made between 5K a month on the upper end to that 45K a month mark as well, okay? So you'll see here, Robert's 10K a month. Harry with his 5K a month award, he's since gone past 10K a month. That's Megan with her 5K a month award. She's also gone past 10K a month. Cam with his 20K a month award, okay? Now, if I was going to start from scratch, okay, take away my social media, my YouTube, any social media following I have, and if I was not doing what I'm doing right now, which is a lot of coaching, this is the business I would start going into 2026, okay? It was the business that got me off the ground, got me to, in 3 years of starting it, over $1 million in revenue, okay? So I know it works, but it's also the thing I would do again, okay? Again, that's based off of the people I see starting it each and every day, seeing how really anybody can start this up makes me confident that I would be able to do this again if I was to start over, okay? Now, also with this, you don't need any employees. It's not like you're going to have to hire people. Yes, we can outsource, which we're going to touch on later, but you don't need to have any employees. For example, this is Rachel, somebody in my program that got to over 10K per month, doing everything herself, okay? Everything herself. So if you want to do everything yourself, you can do it that way. You don't need any experience, okay? Most people that you see in these wins here didn't start this with loads of experience. Most of them started with absolutely no idea what social media marketing is, like genuinely no clue. And I know you might be thinking, yeah, but Adam, I don't even post on social media. I mean, that's where most people start from. They don't post on social media. They've got 200 followers on a private Instagram page. You really do not need that to start this, okay? You also don't need to post content on social media like I do. All right, you don't need to build a personal brand. You don't need to record videos of yourself and post it online. Of course, if you want to do that, great, because I do think it does help, but it's not necessary. And most of the people I work with don't do that. So there's no pressure for you to do it. You don't have to be an expert. Again, we're going to touch on outsourcing and how we find experts to help us with this work. So again, make sure you stick around, watch the full training with me. You can also do this alongside your job or college. And I stress this because I understand that if you are in a job or you are in college, you do not have 10 hours a day to put into this. That's why at the start I mentioned that you really can do this with 1 to 2 hours a day. And again, that's not my opinion. It's not based on what I think you can do. It's based on the verifiable results I have with people in my program. People in Ireland, US, UK, all over the world, different situations. Some working full-time, some in college full-time, and some who might be unemployed and they're doing this full-time. I know across the board, it can work. So for example, right, if you take on the left, that's Tiffany and Gabe. That's when I got them their 10K a month award. You'll see I send these out to people whenever they hit big milestones. They were both working 9 to 5 when they got that award from me. Okay. So they got a business to 10K a month, doing it, the two of them side by side, to 10K a month while still in 9 to 5s. Or on the right here, this guy, Dennis, okay, 17 in school. And you'll see here, look at his last message, just hit 11K in total revenue. And, that was across a few months. That wasn't 11K per month. That was across a few months, but we're probably looking at about 3 to 4 months. For a 17-year-old, that is bloody fantastic. Okay. Now, when you're starting this, you actually don't need to tell anybody about it. Like my social media marketing business, again, which I started in 2019, until that hit around 10K a month in revenue, like month after month, I didn't really tell anybody. My parents knew I was working on it because I was living at home. And so they would walk in while I would be working on it, of course. So they knew, close friends knew, and that was about it. Nobody else really needed to know. And then my idea was, hey, when this thing really works, I can tell people about it. I'll keep it private. When it works, I can tell them all about it. Okay. Again, the reason I say this is because Tiffany and Gabe, who I showed you earlier, like their bosses didn't know that they were doing this on the side. Okay. So like whatever your situation is, this isn't legal advice, but you don't really need to tell people. Okay. Obviously, if you're in a job that doesn't allow you to have anything on the side, that's a different situation. But most jobs in the modern era do allow you to have something as long as it's not going to be, inflicting on the work that you're doing with your employer, right? Now, in this training, we're going to touch on AI. I'm sure you've all seen lots of talk of AI and how it's going to replace all of your jobs and all of that. To be honest, with social media marketing so far, it's just making our jobs easier. It's not replacing us. It's not getting rid of us as service providers to businesses. Businesses still pay for social media marketers. It's just that AI makes it easier. So it costs less for us to deliver, and also it takes way less time. So it's really just a net positive right now. So there's too many AI tools to mention every single one of them to you, but I'm going to reveal some of my favorites at the end of this training if you want to check those out. And so to give you guys a recap on why this all works, right? The average business owner is 51 years old. They don't know how to market their business on social media, or if they do, right? Because some of them do, they're a little bit more tech savvy and they have that experience. If they do, they probably don't have the time or want to do it, because do they want to be posting content? Do they want to be creating content? Probably not. Again, if they even know how to do it. And even if they know how to do it and they do want to do it, the problem then is time. If they're a business owner running a big business, they probably don't have the time. That's just the reality. And that's really where you come in. Okay. That is why there's an opportunity for you here. It's how Leia got to 9,000 a month. It's how Carson got to over 10,000 a month while working a full-time job. It's how Oliver got to over 30,000 per month. Reese to over 6.7K per month. Rosario, 15K a month. Shane, 5,000 a month. Okay. So guys, if you're ready to get this going and go a little bit deeper on how exactly this works and how you can use the strategies that people in my program have used to get results, all you got to do is just drop a little 1 in the chat. Okay. Just let me know if it's all making sense so far and if you're ready to go a little layer deeper to understand how it actually works. Because I've shown you the proof. I've shown you it works. But now your question is, cool, that's great, Adam. Awesome to see people making money, but how do I do it? That's the real question you probably have in your mind right now. So let me just check into the chat here. Cool. All right. Plenty of ones. Fantastic. All right. Really appreciate the participation, by the way, guys. It helps to give me feedback to know this is making sense, because if I need to slow it down or whatever, you guys just let me know. I want to make sure that you leave this going. That wasn't a waste of my Wednesday evening. Okay. All right. So again, I know a lot of you said at the very start, you put a 1 in the chat to signify to me that you are new. So what I'm going to do, assuming that you don't all know exactly how the business works, is we're going to do a bit of a speed run. Okay. So just bear with me, give me a few minutes and let me break it down in the simplest terms that I can as to how this works. So step 1 of how we make money with AI social media marketing is we find business owners that need our help. All right. That's number 1. We got to find the people that have a business that need help with online marketing services. The question on your mind now might be, okay, cool. We find these business owners, but like what type of services? You say online marketing services. What does that even mean? Well, 80% of the people I work with, so the people you've seen who've gotten great results, 80% of them offer social media management and content creation. In simple terms, that's creating content for and managing a social media page for a business. Imagine my page. It's someone creating the content for me, posting it. In the case of my page, where I like record a lot of videos, you know, of me talking to the camera, they would tell me what to record. I would record it. I would send all the footage to them. They would handle the rest. Okay. So it's a very hands-off service. It would save me as a business owner a lot of time. Okay. Tons of time. And if I didn't know how to create social media content, it would save me a ton of time and it would actually do a thing that I don't even know how to do. Okay. So that's why a lot of people offer those two things merged together as one service. The other 20% offer different types of services, things like paid advertising. So when you see paid ads on your Instagram, your Facebook, or whatever else, somebody is running those. Somebody is getting paid to run those for a business. Okay. Email marketing, if you've ever gotten emails from me or from anybody else, that's email marketing. Okay. So that's a service you can also offer. I'm going to lean into this because, again, this is based off of the proof I have. 80% of it comes from this. Okay. So I know this is going to make most sense for most of you starting off. Now, again, if you're just starting, you're probably thinking, great, I don't know how to create content. I don't know how to edit videos. I don't know how to create graphics. I don't know how to really manage a social media page. Like, what does that even entail? Well, this is the thing. And I mentioned this earlier, right? I mentioned a keyword called outsourcing. That's for a reason, because you don't need to know how to do this yourself. All right. So this is why you don't need to be the expert. You can hire and outsource to an appointment setter, right? Somebody that will book meetings for you with business owners. You could hire a graphic designer, someone who creates graphics for social media, for websites, for email marketing, for ads. You could hire a video editor, somebody that creates videos for social media, website ads, etc. That could be short videos like you see on my Instagram page or my TikTok. It could be long form videos like you see on my YouTube channel. It could even be podcast videos. Okay. All of these are roles that you can find online. Now, the beautiful thing about how we do this is that if we get a client, let's say a client is going to pay me $500 a month, and I'm going to manage their social media page and create content. Well, I can find a graphic designer or a video editor, but I don't pay them until I have a client paying me. So I kind of set up a handshake agreement with them to say, hey, I don't have clients yet, but as soon as I do, I'm going to come to you. I get a client, I go to them, voila, everything happens from there. The reason I stress that is because if the client is paying you $500 a month, and let's say you're paying your video editor $100 a month, you make $400 profit, you never have to pay that $100 per month before you get the client to pay you. So it's always positive cash flow, which is good for you. Because again, this is why you don't need lots of money to start this. You can get this up and running. And once you've got clients paying you, you can then pay those people. Now, I help you find these people. Okay. I can give you access to graphic designers, virtual assistants, video editors, social media managers, more. Okay. For example, Rachel, she was somebody I showed you earlier that hit 10K a month. She got to a point where she did a lot of it herself because she wanted to learn. So she learned graphic design and learned video editing and did it herself. But then she got to a point where she was like, this isn't going to work forever. Like I need more people to help me because I don't have the time to do all of this. So she hired Carol, someone I recommended to her, and she said she's absolutely fantastic. All right. So I can help you with that process. Okay. So if you're unfamiliar with how to do it, don't worry. The next question on your mind is, okay, I understand the services and a rough idea of how I'm going to deliver the service to the client. Again, don't worry if it's a little bit blurry still, guys, because again, this is just a short training to make sure that it makes sense, right? But the details, we won't be able to go into it today. We'll be here a little bit more time. The next question is, when I have these services ready to go, okay, where do I find the clients? I'm going to walk you through that now. There's typically two ways to get clients. There's cold marketplaces, okay, places like Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. For example, you find a fitness coach on one of those platforms, you message that fitness coach, and hopefully they have an interest in your services. That's cold, okay? The second is warm marketplaces. And I kind of stress this one a lot because this is where, kind of similar to how we're seeing a lot of people get results with social media management and content creation. Again, about 80% of people, probably about 80% of the people that are getting wins in my community right now are getting clients through Upwork. Okay, so I'm not affiliated with Upwork. They don't pay me or anything like that. It would be great if they did, but they don't. The reason I refer people to Upwork, and I'm going to mention it to you on this training, is because it works. Simple as. They've built a great platform that works. It's a great place for hiring people, so outsourcing, but also a great place to find clients. For example, Vin, if you look at his message, he said 4 proposals sent. So that's basically him finding 4 jobs for social media marketing. He sent off a proposal for each of those. He got 3 seen and 3 booked calls. He already closed one of the clients and he's going to close another. So essentially, with 4 businesses he found needing help, he messaged all 4 of them, sent them off kind of a description of how we might be able to help them. They replied, he's booked calls, and he's already signed clients from that. Okay, you're not going to get that on Instagram, Facebook, or anywhere else. You're going to have to message probably hundreds of businesses before you get results like that. Or if we take Harry here, you'll see he said, my mind's blown. I got this 2K a month offer for 20 posts a month. So that's 20 videos posted to their social media page. If you do the maths, that's $100 per video. And he didn't even have a call with them. So they posted a job. He applied. He sent a proposal. They saw his proposal and said, yeah, you're the best fit. Great, we're going to hire you. So like this is a really warm platform. And I stress that because this is why what we do, it's not like your typical kind of salesy environment, what you might be thinking of when you hear the word sales or selling services. Like we are selling services, yes, but we're selling it to people that want our help, you know? So it's a very different situation than selling to somebody that doesn't want your help. You know, it happens all the time. Somebody knocks on your door, they're trying to sell you a new Wi-Fi or a new electricity provider, whatever it may be. You know, do you want their help? Not really. And it seems salesy. That's not what we're doing. Like we're selling to business owners that are on this platform saying, hey, my hand is raised. I want help. Please help me. They're asking you to be sold to. Okay. So it's a very different situation. It's much more enjoyable. So then the question you probably next have is, okay, cool, Upwork, great, makes sense. It's a marketplace, so businesses post jobs. I apply to those jobs, and yeah, hopefully I get jobs from there. Well, there's a little bit more to it. Okay, so this is typically what it looks like to get clients on the platform. 30% of your results is going to come from finding the right jobs. 40% is going to be actually what you write back to them. Okay, so actually writing something unique. 10% is going to be your profile and like the things you've done in the past. Okay, so again, don't worry if you don't have like relevant experience. It's not a problem. It won't hold you back. And then 20% is your portfolio, which if you're starting, you won't have a portfolio, but we have some ways around that. So we have ways at which we can help you build out a portfolio. Many ways, okay, just to give you an example, let's say you were to work with a video editor. So again, that you've found somebody, you're going to outsource to them as soon as you have a client. Well, we, most cases, can get a video editor that is willing to give you their portfolio. They are willing to say, hey, take my portfolio, you know, just obviously explain that I'm part of your team, okay? And then show that's your potential clients and then get clients. Right? It sounds simple, right? But that really does help because it gives you that extra thing to fall back on if a business owner is questioning if you have results or experience or any proof to show them, okay? So the step-by-step process looks like this. You build your profile on Upwork and you build out a portfolio, which I'll help you do. You find an ideal client. You then understand what the client actually wants. You send a proposal to them. If they're interested, they book a call with you. You then build them out a package based on their budget and what you want to offer them. And then you close a deal. Okay, that's the process. For example, all right, Michael, this little deal he sent through, that's what it looks like on Upwork. When you get a deal, it gives you this big congratulations banner. Now, for this whole process, you can, again, try and figure it out by yourself, or I can give you the blueprints. I can show you how to set up your profile, how to build a portfolio if you don't have experience, how to write the right type of proposal to land clients, because I have seen hundreds and hundreds of proposals that people in my community have sent, and I have a pretty good idea now of what works and what doesn't work. Okay, so I can guide you through that entire process from finding an ideal client. So this is a job post for an example to show you. Then understanding what they want. So we're marking the key points they've mentioned because we're going to mention those points in our proposal to them, which is the next step. We write a proposal. Okay. From there, we book the meeting, quick conversation with them, and then we build the package and close the deal. Now, here's the thing. Look, on Upwork, a lot of clients have a rough idea of what they want. So if you're doing outreach on there, you'll typically have what we call custom packages. You know, so you won't just have like one set package, right? You'll kind of make it custom based on what they need. So yeah, just to make that very clear, you know, again, you don't have to have it all figured out. And that's kind of the beauty of that, because you can have a meeting with a business owner and just really have a chat and see, okay, what's the budget? What are they looking for? And seeing then if you can find the price that makes sense for that. Okay, so at this point, guys, I'm going to hope that makes sense. That makes sense so far. Again, if you have any questions on this, put them in the chat. Okay, put them in the chat. You can put them in now, or you can wait till the end. But any questions, put them in, and I'll do my best to answer as many as I can. So once we're clear on that first part, the next part then is actually selling your services to these business owners, and of course, getting paid. Now, the way we get paid is we want to get paid on a monthly basis. Okay, these are just some examples to show you. If we look at this message from Alvi on the left, he said 4-month minimum package sold, What that means is the client is not paying him for a month to see how things go. It's 4 months. So they've locked in for 4 months. Or bottom right here, look at Sean. This is actually this month in November, got his first client on Upwork for $700 per month for 3 months. So that's actually 2.1K that he has locked in. Now it's paid per month, so it's 700 per month for the 3 months, but that's locked in. So that means if Sean can now get another client next month, let's say for 700, cool. He's got 1.4K a month coming in, both of them locked in for 3 months. And he kind of keeps that process going. After the 3 months, hopefully they're happy and then they just stick around. That's the goal, right? And that's how, I have people in the program that will have clients that pay them for 2 years straight. We get them in on, again, typically a 3-month minimum. You'll see that from Malachi here, also in November on the 14th. Quite a big deal, 1.8K a month, 3-month minimum. That gives you recurring income, it gives you stability, and it gives you that peace of mind that, okay, I don't need to sign a new client every week. In fact, I might not need to even sign a new client each month. I would recommend you do, and you try and put that effort in so that you continue to grow this slowly. But if you wanted to take it chill for a few months, let's say you've gotten to 2-3 grand a month and you want to take it easy, you could do that. No problem. You could just not sign new clients and just put in effort keeping the clients that you already have. Now, step 3 from there is actually getting everything you need from these clients and getting them on board. So any of their logos, any materials that they're going to need to send to you for you to create content, maybe even logging into their website, you're going to get that all from them. Step 4 then is to actually deliver the service or hire somebody to do it, like we just looked at. An example of this, let's say you get paid $500 a month for social media management on November 19th, today. Okay, you find your first deal. Great. Well, tomorrow, okay, let's actually change that to November 20th. You could hire a freelancer on Upwork to manage the work. But then again, as I mentioned, you're paying that person at the end of the month. If you're not paying them right away, you'll pay them at the end of the month. So hopefully that's straightforward. Again, if you have any questions, how it works, let me know. I want to make sure that you have clarity on that. Just drop them in the chat. I'll be doing a Q&A at the end of this, so no worries. Now, as promised, I did mention I was going to walk you guys through some of the AI tools that you can use to make your job as a social media marketer a lot easier. So let me just take a quick sip of water and then I'll walk you through some of these that I use. Again, there's a lot of AI tools, so I don't want you to go down the rabbit hole of just using as many as possible because you'll waste a lot of time that way. There's a couple of key tools that I use continually and I've used now for over a year. I know they work really well. I'm going to walk you through each of them right now. Cool. So in this example, we're going to imagine you were doing social media marketing as we looked at managing social media pages, creating content, posting it for your clients. So AI tool number 1 is a tool called Opus Clips. I use this in my business. It's very good. So I can take a long form video, let's say a YouTube video that might be 10 or 20 minutes. I can give the link of that video to Opus Clips and it will generate videos, short form videos from that long video. So if I give it a 10-minute video, it might give me back 20 short form videos. It'll add subtitles and captions and pretty much ready to go to post on social media. It's not perfect. So if I get 20 videos back from it, I might use 5 to 10 of them. But I can then give it loads of my long form videos. So this is really easy. If you're working with a client that has a YouTube channel or just has longer form content, Facebooks, or they've got Zoom calls they've recorded of teaching their clients something, great. You can use that, put it into Opus Clips, and it's going to get you some pretty good content off the bat. Another tool you can use, the next one here is Captions app. Very similar, except this would work for raw video. So not long form, like let's say 10-minute YouTube videos, but just like a 1-2 minute video your client has recorded. You can use the Captions app, which will like take out any pauses, any like stutters, it'll blurt them out. And then it'll also do captions and subtitles to the videos. Okay, the next tool is repurpose.io. So this is essentially a tool that you can create content once. So let's say you create a video for me and you've made it for my TikTok page. Well, using repurpose.io, you can then have it post that one piece to all of my social media channels. So you're essentially taking one piece of content and it distributes automatically using their AI onto many different platforms. And it'll actually change the post to fit the dimensions for each platform. So that's a really powerful tool that you should use if you're managing multiple pages for a client. It's also really nice because if you have a client paying, let's say 500 a month, and that's to post, let's say 10 videos a month to their Instagram, right? So 500 a month for 10 videos a month. Well, you could then actually say to them, hey, look, I can also post on your TikTok. I can post on your Facebook. I can post on any other platform you have. I just charge an extra 100 or 150 a month. A very small fee for the extra value they're getting, but you could use a tool like repurpose.io to do most of that work for you. Another tool is Otter AI. In fact, on this meeting we're on right now, I've got my Otter AI on this meeting. So it's essentially going to join my meetings and record them all for me. So it's going to take notes, give me a summary afterwards, give me any action items as well. So if I have, kind of given a meeting, right, had a meeting with somebody and I've given them a list of do this, 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 and this, it'll do all that for me. Like it'll create that list for me and I can have that linked to my notes or my to-do list and it all just transfers over. Okay, so that's a really useful tool that you can use. For example, if you have a meeting with a business owner and they've explained to you, this is my business, this is what I sell, this is my target market, these are my goals for social media. Well, great, because now Otter has transcribed it all, taken all of that information. You can then take all of that information, plug that into ChatGPT and say, hey, create a content strategy for an Instagram page for this business, referencing all of the information they've given me on the call. So you can see, guys, a lot of how we're using AI, it's not the craziest, most revolutionary thing in the world. It's like we're just doing very basic things that would have taken you a ton of time. Because back when I started in 2019, we didn't have these tools. So when I would have a meeting with a client, I would have to record it, but there wasn't a way to transcribe it. And then I wouldn't have a way to go to ChatGPT because it didn't exist to then build out a content plan. So I'd have to manually do all of that myself. So that might take me a full hour per client that I was working with every month. If you have 10 clients, that's 10 hours a month that you can now save by just using very basic tools. But again, is the business owner going to know how to use these? That's where we find they don't. They normally don't know how to use these and they don't want to get involved with this. They want to just pay somebody, hand it off, and just get it all done from there. Okay, here's just an example of Otter, right? Just an example call so you can see it takes notes, gives you like that breakdown, bullet point list, all of that. So guys, that's part one, hopefully delivered to you, okay, which is to walk you through how you actually do social media marketing. Again, in a nutshell, obviously we can't go into every single detail on how you do every single part of it. We would be here for a very, very long time. That's what my program does in a lot more detail. Hopefully that's given you a good rundown. Okay, I genuinely mean that. I do hope that has given you a good understanding. The next thing, as promised, is I'm going to walk you through the Black Friday offer that I have right now for my program. And then the last thing we're going to cover is the Q&A. Okay, so again, any questions you have, you can put them in now and I'll address them very, very shortly for you. Okay, so guys, look, I'll keep it short. I'm not going to go and hype this up for the next 30 minutes. Okay, I hate live trainings and webinars that do that, so I'm not going to do it. Okay, very simply put, each year I do a special offer for my program. It's called the Figure Accelerator Mentorship Program. And I do it in November because Black Friday is here. Okay, and so we do it for November. We don't run it typically for the full month. That's why I'm doing it a little bit early. Today is the 19th as I'm announcing this. Black Friday isn't for like another 10 days. But I want to give those of you that are here the chance to get the offer because we're going to do it for a limited number of people. So we may not even have to launch it in a week from now on Black Friday. Okay, so we'll see. But I'm going to walk you through the details of this deal. There's two parts to it. Number one, you get €300 off the price of my mentorship program. So if any of you have been looking to join, this is the biggest discount I've done all year and probably the biggest discount until next year. I might do an offer next year because I pretty much do it every year, but there's not going to be a discount like this until then. So this is the biggest discount that you're going to get. Number two, you're going to get bonuses worth over €5,000, which I'll walk you through in a moment. And those bonuses come for free. And these are normally bonuses that if people want to add them on, they pay extra for. So you're going to get all of those for free. So there's two things we need to go through. First is the program, what it is, how it works, so that you understand what that 300 off looks like. I'm going to explain that for you. The second thing then is the bonuses. I'm going to walk you through those as well. So here's the rundown on the program. I don't offer like a basic course, or basic how-to videos. I give you a full mentorship program. So what I mean by that is I cover everything you need to be a successful business owner. Okay. It's not just going to be a series of videos you watch and then good luck to you. Okay. That doesn't work. I'm going to cover mindset, accountability, networking, self-improvement, all of those key areas. And of course, teaching you social media marketing, the ins and outs and how it all works. You're going to learn all of these skills from myself, from the business I've built. And I do it in a way because, look, being brutally honest, I bought a Forex trading course back when I was like 17, and it was about $300. And I wouldn't say it was a scam because it delivered on what they said they would deliver, which was it was a course, but it was a course. All it was basic videos and information. I really was very doubtful, and I had tons of questions going through it because it was a guy in the US that was selling it, and he was going to teach me how to trade stocks online, but I was in Ireland. And so there was a load of questions that I needed to ask that didn't make sense because his was for a US audience. But a ton of doubts, a ton of questions. There was nobody to help me. There was a customer support email, and I would email them and I would just get a very generic, like, watch the videos and you'll learn everything you need to learn kind of response. But nobody to help me, which, as you can imagine, makes you lose motivation. You then eventually just stop trying and then you give up. So that's the problem with most courses, and it's why they get quite a bad reputation online. It's for this exact reason. So what I did with my program was, number one, I said, okay, I'm going to give you a one-on-one onboarding call. So after you join and you work with me, within the first couple of weeks, we'll have a meeting, the two of us, one-on-one, and we'll just chat back and forth to make sure that you have a good plan in place. Okay, that you've a crystal clear roadmap to follow and all your questions are answered. I'm also then going to have you in a private chat. So I use Telegram. It's just like WhatsApp or iMessage. And so me and you can talk back and forth every day. You can give me updates, what you're working on. You can ask me questions. You can let me know if you've any doubts. Whatever it is, you let me know. Okay. For example, Kira, she's been in my program now for about 3 years. She's still in my program, still active in the community. Anybody that's on the live training will know she's in there giving loads of tips to people all the time. But she's been there for 3 years for the simple reason, as she says here in her own words, the time and effort I put into the coaching is insane. That's it. Okay. That's why she's still there, because, she's doing very well now. She makes around 6 figures a year with us. So does she need to ask me loads of questions? Not really, but she'll have a question every now and then. And she gets value from being able to ask me that and get help with a specific problem. And so when you're just starting, you'll use that a lot more. You might message me every single day, and that's okay. Because if I need to give you a bit more time, but it gets you on the right track and get a good result, fan-bloody-tastic. I'm happy to do that. The next thing then is you get daily support in my community. Okay, so that's with people like Kira that are in there. So there's about 200 people in there. So you can message each other. You can ask for feedback. You can ask for advice. I can, of course, send in messages in there as well, but it's very open. So you can network, all of that. Okay. So you kind of put it all together. You've got a lot, because you've also then got in the community two calls a week. So we do one on Monday and one on Thursday. We do them in the evening. We record them. I do them live and we record them so that if you miss it, you can watch it back. And so you put it all together. You've got a training course from me, which is over 20 hours, very detailed step-by-step action items to follow. You've then got a one-on-one call with me. And then after that, you've got daily support with me. You've got weekly live calls. And then you also have the community chat as well. Okay. You've also, just to mention, copy and paste templates, contract systems, and more. Okay. So it's not just videos in the course that I have. There's a lot more to that. There's contract templates for signing clients, contract templates for hiring people. There's like everything you're going to need, right? It's all in there. Onboarding forms and systems, it's all there. So this is what you get. Again, everything we've just covered, the full breakdown right there. Plenty of the people that you've seen inside my program, they're getting results all over the world. Johnny from Ireland in Galway, Megan from the UK, Harry from the UK, Caleb from the US, Cam from the US, Tiffany and Gabe US, Oliver UK, Callum UK, like a whole mix. I have people all over the world. I'm Irish, so I have a lot of Irish people in the community as well, which is obviously nice to see. But I bring that up because you are probably, if you're going to work with me, find somebody that you can actually call a friend. I have a lot of people in the program that genuinely have made lifelong friends because they're, in their life right now, probably not surrounded by people doing this, right? Like nobody in their immediate friend group or family does this. So of course, there's going to be times where you feel a little bit lonely. That's why we have the community. That's why I want you to be able to connect with all these people to build out your network and actually have these people that you can call on alongside myself if you do need help along the way. I've also got tons of interviews. So I've actually taken the time to interview loads of people in my program. Obviously, these are only with the people that want to be public. So you can imagine there's obviously a lot of people that don't want to be in a public interview. But if you go to my YouTube channel, you will see at this point dozens of these. I don't know the exact number. I'd say I have probably at least 40 or 50 of these. Again, those are only the public ones. So there's a lot of people that, get results and just want to keep it private. So keep that in mind. Again, to recap, you're getting 300 off and the bonuses. All right. So the bonuses, so that you know what they are, you'll get 2 extra courses from me, one about Instagram, one about TikTok. These essentially include systems, tools, tactics, everything you'll need to know about how I've gotten over 2 million followers for my clients and for myself on Instagram and TikTok. So that's going to give you a lot more confidence when you're speaking to clients, and also that when you sign clients, you know how to get them results. To help you out when you're just starting, you're also going to get 50 copy paste content templates from me. Okay, so I've had my design team create 50 templates, a mix of videos and graphics. These are really, really good to have. I see this help people for a few reasons. Number one, it gives you more confidence, because if you're in a meeting with a business owner and they're like, hey, show me some examples of what you could do, you can show them some of this and say, hey, well, look, this is the style of content that we can create, the style of content that does well. So that's going to give you a ton of confidence. It's also something you could use, that if you sign that client, you could use some of these templates right away, because they're templates, like they're pre-made, ready to go. There might be some details you need to obviously swap out and change to make it unique for this business, but it just speeds up that process. You're also going to get mastermind event recordings. So I did an event in Dublin in Ireland back in September. I did a previous one in April, and I did one the year before in September. I've done a few more as well, but those are the 3 most recent ones I've hosted. When I do those events, the tickets range from about €197 up to about €297. Okay. So it's quite a small group that come to the events, probably 20 to 30 people. I've had some really incredible guest speakers at those events, and I've recorded every single talk at the events, every single talk. So you've got probably 20 hours of extra things that you can watch through. You don't have to go through all this stuff, but it's going to be there for you. Really good nuggets to pull from. People making hundreds of thousands per month, and people who are just at 5 to 10,000 per month. Okay, so you're going to be able to learn from people at every stage of this journey. So I do think you're going to get a ton from that. Now, this hopefully is priceless. It's hard to put a price on this one, but you're going to get priority onboarding with myself. Okay, so you're not going to be working with somebody I've hired to work with you. It's me. All right, you're hands-on with me, one-on-one, all with me. Okay, so hopefully that's good news, and hopefully you see that as a bonus. And I put that in there because I think this will help you get even better results. So that is the deal, guys. As I mentioned, we haven't publicly put this out there. Probably going to mention it tomorrow sometime publicly, so that other people in my audience who are not on this live training and who don't watch this replay can check it out. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 10 spots for this. And so I've put a little warning here, not to scare you, but just to be brutally honest. This could sell out this week. So by the time Black Friday comes around, which is actually in a week and 2 days from now, these spots probably will be gone. Okay. So it's a Black Friday deal, but it's a little bit early. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to get the link for my program, because I know some of you are going to be like, great, that sounds good, but I need to know the price. Okay. You might just be price dependent, as in if it fits your budget, you can do it. If it doesn't, you can't. So I'm obviously not going to leave you hanging. I will send you a link to the website, which has all the details on there. On the website link, there's a 5-minute video you can watch, which gives you a breakdown of the pricing options, because there's a few different options. And there's also a checkout page. So you can actually just put in your name and email and then see the exact pricing details from there. Okay. So I'm going to grab that link. I'm going to put it here into the Zoom chat. So if you want to check that out, what I would recommend is click that link or copy it, bookmark it, save it for later. Now, next step is let's check into the chat. So again, guys, as promised, I'm going to do a Q&A. Any questions you have, put them in. I'll do my best to answer those for you and hopefully give you some clarity on any doubts, concerns, questions that you might have. Okay, so give me 2 minutes. Let me grab the link, take a sip of water, and just get your questions in, and I'll check in there in a second. Okay, guys, link is in the chat. So again, what I would recommend even if you're not 100% sure if you want to join the program, that's fine. But I would recommend that you take that link, either open it up or copy and paste it into your notes app on your phone, whatever the case may be. If you're on the Zoom on your phone, don't worry. If you just copy the link and put it in your notes app, the Zoom will still play in the background. You can just come back onto it in a minute. So don't worry about that. But I'd recommend you do that. Okay. Because again, we're going to announce it publicly tomorrow. When we announce it publicly, there's going to be a lot more interest for sure. All right. So I'm going to check in now, see what questions we have here. Cool. All right. Tariq, you said, what would the typical length for a contract be? So Tariq, as I mentioned during the training there, typical length, we ideally start off with a 3-month minimum. So again, we do that for a few reasons. Number one, for you, okay, better for you to have the security that the client's going to pay you every month for 3 months rather than like a monthly deal. So that's the first reason. The second reason, though, is for the client, because if a business owner looks at social media and says, hey, I'm going to try it for 2 weeks, or I'm going to try it for a month and see if it works, it's not really the right mindset. They need to commit to it. So, for example, Tariq, I worked with a lot of fitness businesses. So, kind of an example I would use with them is I would say to them, hey, well, look, if I come to you and I say, hey, I need to lose this amount of weight, right? Your job is to tell me how long that's going to take roughly. But also, if I say to you, I'm only going to do this thing, I'm going to try your gym training plan for 3 weeks, and if it doesn't work, I'm going to give up. You'd probably tell me that's an absolutely terrible mindset. It's never going to work for you. It's the same idea when we're selling to businesses. Like social media is something they have to do consistently for a long enough period of time. So typical length, right, of contracts, again, starts at 3 months, then it goes month to month. So a rolling monthly contract. They just renew every month if they're happy. It depends. So like some cases, somebody renews after 3 months and they stay for another 3 months. Some cases it runs for another 12 months. It really just depends on is there a good connection with you and the client? Are you offering enough value? And are they getting a result that they're happy with? If so, they'll stay. Like I've had clients of mine staying for 20 months, which is phenomenal because, they paid you every month for 20 months. And I've had clients where they did 3 months and then they went on their way. So it's all going to depend on your level of service and kind of the expectation the client has as well. Okay, Kirsten, great question. So I'm Irish. What does revenue think of this? So for those that are not Irish, that's like the government tax body, especially with how high Irish taxes are. Well, technically, Kirsten, it's just an extra income source. So, what I would do is if you go into Google or ChatGPT or whatever, obviously this isn't financial legal advice, but just to get an idea for yourself, type in how much can I make extra on the side and maybe give it details of what your current salary is. I'm pretty sure there's a threshold. Like there's a certain amount extra you can make tax-free before you'd have to register. So check that out. If there isn't, or let's say you're already past that threshold, then it's probably just going to be applied at whatever you're currently paying tax-wise. So like if you're on the 20% tax bracket, you're probably going to pay 20% on this. If it's 40%, 40%. So it's not too complicated. If you've got a full-time job and you're a PAYE employee, this is just going to be self-employed income. You'd normally set up as a sole trader. What I see a lot of people do in the program, again, this isn't advice, it's just observation of what I see, is people start up, they get a few clients to pay them directly. Once they get a few clients and prove to themselves, hey, I want to do this thing long term and it works for me, then they go and set up as a sole trader or even a limited company. Just depends what you think is best for you. Always best to speak to like that, maybe a financial advisor, tax advisor, or just an accountant, someone that can give you a little bit more like specific advice for your situation. But yeah, it's something where like when I started, I overthought that so much. And I just thought I had to have all of that figured out. And so I ended up rushing in to set up a limited company, which then I ended up leaving Ireland in that same year. And I still had a limited company in Ireland. So, ideally, if I was to do it again, I wouldn't have done that, wouldn't have rushed in, would have taken it a little bit more slowly, just get a few clients, make sure I like it, want to do it long term, and then go from there. Cool. All right, David, you said you have an interview on Monday for a social media executive role. You have 9 years skills in graphic and video editing, but none is social media management. What do I expect in the interview and how do I upsell them appropriately to make sure I land the gig? Well, I guess the first thing to note, David, that sounds a little bit different, man, because you said they're a social media executive role. That sounds like a full-time job to me. that doesn't sound like a kind of monthly, 3-month minimum, I'll manage your social media kind of deal. So it does sound a little bit different. So in that case, it's more just a job interview, right, man? Like you're just going to have to make sure that you match their expectations. I wouldn't lie to them, and if you've never managed social media, I would, you can be honest with them, but explain to them that you know how to do it. And that's kind of the key. And that's like what I find with a lot of people in my program is I'm training you up on the know-how so that even if you don't have experience, you can talk the talk and you can explain to them, well, look, I get social media. Like this is what I would do if I was your business. I would do this, 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 and this. And I see your competitors are doing all of this, and I've done this analysis. And when you present it that way, that obviously is going to give them some confidence of like, oh shit, yeah, you get this. Like you really do get this. So in your case, David, I would lean into the fact that you do have 9 years experience with graphic and video editing and show them tons of what you've done. And then lean into the fact that you can explain to them how you would approach their social media, like leaning into talking the talk, which, I think that's the best way to approach it, man. So good luck with it anyway, man. Okay, Stina, great question. Group coaching calls once or twice a week. Twice a week, Monday and Thursday. And what time and time zones? So yeah, we do them same time on both days. We do it 6 p.m. So the same time as I did this meeting today. So 6 p.m. Irish time. So it just depends where you are in the world. Um, Open to change, and there's definitely times in your world we'll change them a little bit to kind of just accommodate other time zones, but those are typically the times. And then, yeah, they're recorded. So I do have some people that can't attend them live. They just watch the recordings. And then they typically, if they have questions, will send me a voice note or even like a video of themselves explaining what their question is. And then I reply back to them the next day. So yeah, there's definitely ways around that if you can't attend. Cool. You said you're in Norway. Yeah, perfect. Like I'm in Cyprus right now. So it's like 8:52, which is, a little bit later than I'd want to be doing calls, but it's fine. That's the beauty of working online. We can always make it work. Okay, Zoom user, you said, is the business viable to have a partner with you? So yeah, if you remember from the training, I walked through Tiffany and Gabe. So they're like a couple and they're doing it together. I have a lot of people in the program that do it that way. Some people do it with a partner who's not their romantic partner, just a friend or an acquaintance as well. So you could definitely do it that way. I had a business partner myself in my business. So yeah, can definitely do it, man. I think it just depends, and you want to make sure you're doing it with the right person. So, all right, Josephine, I just want to know, am I correct to say that the content you would post, for example, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, they always look the exact same? Really great question. Really great question. Yeah. So yes and no. So for example, Josephine, if you take my social media, I can just speak on my experience, right? My videos that I post to TikTok, I post to Instagram as well. Exact same. Don't change anything about them. Like the exact same videos. Okay. I don't really post to Facebook just because I've not found that for my audience, I get a good audience on there. So I don't. But if I was, I would post the same. To me, there's really no difference. Some business owners will argue with you and say that it should be like different and unique for each profile. I think that's BS, to be honest, because I know a lot of people that are really successful and they post on the same stuff on all those platforms. So it's going to save you time, and it also allows you to post more content because then you can just put more effort into creating content and posting it on all the pages. You know what I mean? Rather than trying to optimize for each one, you just create for one and post on all of them. Michael, you said, I'm not seeing the price of the course up front. Can we get the price up front so that we can gauge whether we can afford it or not? Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So, Michael, on the link that I've sent, let me just resend it to you. If you go into the video that's on the homepage, just kind of skip through with your mouse and you'll see there's kind of halfway through where I show the exact pricing. You'll see, and the reason we have it in the video is because I do kind of talk through and explain it. So I would recommend listening to that because there's 3 different options that you have. And so, yeah, it's just important to kind of just listen through and just kind of make sure that you understand how the pricing works because it's a little bit different for the 3 options that I give. So yeah, Michael, just bookmark that link, maybe check it right after this. And of course, any questions that you have for me, you can let me know. Yeah, perfect. Spot on, man. If you go with a partner, do you split the fee? Great question. It depends on how you want to do it. So, for example, if you were doing this with, let's say, a partner and one of you is going to be using the coaching, that's fine. I can allow you to both get access. But for example, if you both wanted to use the coaching, as in like you'd both be on coaching calls with me, you'd both be talking back and forth with me, or you'd both be doing like the one-on-one call with me, then we typically would have to charge a little bit extra for that because it will be double the workload on my side for the one person. So just depends. If you're happy to do it the first way, where kind of one of you leads the side of the coaching, then that can work perfectly fine. Cool. All right, guys, it looks like we got through all the questions there. So what I'm going to do again is let me just send in the link here for the program. Okay, so again, just bookmark that. You'll have all the details. Dave, you asked, what was the offer I've seen before where you pay a deposit or of sorts? Yeah, so there is an option, Dave, where if you don't want to join right now, but you want to lock in the current price to start later on, you can pay a deposit of $50, which is, in euro, about 42 euro, and that secures your spot for 12 months at the discounted price. And so on the link I've sent you, you'll actually see it on there. It's kind of, that link is like the master link. There's a link to book a call with me one-on-one if there was some questions that you really needed to go through with me on a call before joining. So you'll see the option on that website link as well. There's the link again to the video so you can watch the pricing. There's a link to sign up if you do feel it's the right fit for you and you want to grab one of the 10 spots for the offer. And yeah, there's also the link to the deposit as well. So you should be able to get most of the info on there. Cool. All right. Well, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. Again, I'll send out the recording tomorrow. So if you need to watch this back, you can check that out then. And yeah, good luck. Again, guys, 10 spots for that offer. So yeah, just click on the link, save that. That'll have all the details. No pressure. You don't have to work with me. I hope you got value from this anyway, regardless of if you work with me. That is my intention with these. But for those of you that might be interested in joining, I'll stress it. This is the biggest discount that I'm going to have for a very long time. So probably the time to get yourself a early Christmas present, invest in yourself, and see if we can get this kicked off for you. All right, guys. Hope this was valuable. See you soon. Have a good rest of your evening. Adios. Ciao, ciao.